morning, I actually got up thinking, okay, I actually didn't really get up thinking what would be the theme of my next, video, but how do I want to come out here again, because it's been so long. But I actually thought about, you know what, the transition. And I'm recording this because I'm on my way back home, then I gotta go meet a friend. However, I thought about, what does it look like when you're in transition? When you're not where you used to be, but you're not also where you want to be, but you're in transition, you're in the middle. Because I've been in this space for over 5 years now, and nothing made sense to me, and things are slowly starting to reveal themselves to make sense. So, on this morning when I was reading the Bible scripture for the day, and and it was just hearing a speaker about it, and there was something about what he said that made me everything kind of made sense. And it was that the different callings that you have on your life. So I did not know, I had no clue that I would be on this journey and I would be prepping to do ministry work for God. Not a clue. And it's in him explaining that when he was young, he always wanted to be a weatherman, and nobody could convince him otherwise. And that was the same thing for me too. I knew I wanted to do something in dental. I absolutely want to be a dentist, and nobody can convince me otherwise. Like, as a dentist, lawyer, or owning my own departments. But at the core of it, it was, no, I want to be a dentist. And lo and behold, I've been a hygienist now almost 17 years. I've done the dentistry thing. I've gone into insurance, dealt with lawyers, everything like that, right? So I got my investigative cap on and had to ask questions. And so I kind of felt like, a little bit of, wasn't necessarily law, but still something similar to me. And nowhere did I ever think that as I was about to step into becoming manager for the audit team, for the dental audit team, and I had accepted it. I had signed the paperwork. I had said I'm going to do it in, I believe it was December 10th, 2019. And something shifted so drastically within me that by the end of January, I had said no. It wasn't for me. I just had this deep-seated feeling that it wasn't for me. And I didn't understand. I didn't understand at the time what was going on. And I didn't understand, like, this was one of my dreams. Like, I worked so hard in that career, and coming in as a quality assurance analyst to then team lead, supervisor, and I'd worked really hard for that. That promotion. And hold on. I didn't understand if I had worked so hard for it, like, why couldn't I have stepped into it? I didn't understand it. And then now it was today, like 5 years later, when I finally understand, because it's like, God didn't want me to step into that, because had I stepped into that, I probably would never have said yes any other time, or would have made it a lot harder. And God was taking me out of that. God was taking me out of that and was prepping me, and it had to strip me away from a whole bunch of different things, and teachings, upbringing, patterns, just everything. I had to tear that down. God was tearing it down. And it's one of those things that when you're in that process, you don't even realize that it's a process. God's not just saying yes to God. When I said yes to God, October 2019, He takes you through a process. He absolutely takes you through a process. And you don't know it. You think that you don't know what you're doing. You're thinking everybody might be looking at you crazy. You're thinking you're crazy. You're thinking that you're something's wrong with you, and you start going through all these different changes, right? Only to come to realize nothing is wrong with you. God's just taking you through a process. You might not understand it in your mind, but God does. God absolutely does. And but before he takes you to that next level, that next, he has to prepare you. It's like, when I tell my daughter, like she's in university now, you may not understand all the stuff that you're learning now, but you will at some point. Everything will come together, will gel together, and you're going to need that knowledge at some point. What you're learning now is for later. It's for later. But God has to take you through that. And you have to be so humbled enough to allow God to work on you. Allow God to strip away things from you. Allow God to put you into seasons of learning. But when God is doing that, nobody told me. Nobody told me, because there's nobody that I knew that was going through the same thing that I was going through. And even though you may try to get information from others, it's very challenging, because you don't know if they're going through the same thing that you're going through. You don't know that. And also, you don't know how God has taken them through their path. You really don't know. All you know is this is what you're going through. But even when I would go through and YouTube and listen to videos, sometimes people are saying things, and it's not that you don't understand, but it's also like you don't know how to relate just yet. But you're not sure if this is what you're going through, because also you're still dealing with the impact of so many other things: life choices, life, work, family, finance, everything that gets in the way. So you're not really quite there. And it's only now that I'm like, I can finally understand it, So I'm not where I was. I'm not where I want to be. But I'm still in the transition period, and God's still teaching me things. But I figured, you know what? This is where I think I want to start recording more and sharing more, because this is where it could get very, very, not complicated, but it could get very confusing to those when you're in this and you don't know what's going on. And you try to talk to people around you, family, friends, and all that, but they don't know either, because they're not going through what you're going through. And so it's just, let me just come on here, let me just start to share my journey, and share where I'm at, and share, in the transitioning period where I'm at, because I know I'm not exactly there, but I know I see some signs, but I'm not completely there, and I got to put in the work, and I got to keep putting in the work. But God, for the first few years, let me tell you, stripping away people from me, taking away the vices, the coping mechanisms, skills that I had, the people that I would rely on, the job security that I would rely on, family, just things that keeps you feeling like you're secure. And it's almost like, what are you secured in? Like, what are you secured in? Especially after my last relationship, and that literally biggest blessing in disguise ever. Biggest blessing. I never thought that I would actually reach a point where I feel like God walked me through that, and God was always there with me, and God knew exactly how our relationship had to end. And I'm so grateful that it ended. So grateful that it ended, because I'm like, look at where I'm at right now. But even to say, like, I had put all my confidence at one point in time, like, go back more than 10 years ago now, put all my confidence and faith into this family unit that I thought we were building, into this person, and being secured in that, not realizing that if anything were to ever happen, if you were to walk away, if you were to pass away, if any one of us were to have gone sick, like, all of that would have changed. And I wasn't even thinking about any of those things, but all I just know is that I put my confidence in that, and it made me feel, it gave me this false sense of, yes, this person, I have a family, I'm a partner to somebody. All these false measures that we impose on ourselves to make us feel like we're important, make us feel like we belong, make us feel like, yes, I've made it. And in actuality, none of that is true. None of that is true. So God has also had to humble me, to strip away a lot of things from me. And so now I've gone back to God, because I've always had God, but God just revealed a very significant pain point for me, that, and now I see it's a generational thing, but now I see that you cannot put all of your hope and being and faith into an individual, a human being, a person, because if anything were to happen to that, what happens to you? What happens to that identity now that you've so-called formed? So so God had to walk me through a season where it's like, focus on me, because I'm not gonna leave you. Unlike the circumstances that you're putting all of your confidence and faith in. Because let's just say you put your confidence and faith and you have security in your job. What if you lose the job? What if you lose the job? What if you put your confidence and faith all in yourself and everything that you can do? What if you get sick and you're unable to do any of that stuff? What if you get into an accident? Right? You don't know. You don't know. You put your faith, confidence into friends, family. And what if they don't show up for you when you need them? What if something happens to them as well too, and they're just not there? Or you start to see different sides of them, and then what? What if you don't have that friend group? So are you less significant now? What if you don't have, like, I just came back from the gym and they were asking, what do you do for fun? I like being by myself. I like reading, I like going on walks. I love that. I love that. Just me and God and praying and meditating and all that. But if, comes a day I can't do any of that, I still have God. But thankfully, I don't have a life built on external factors like waiting for friends to show up, waiting for friends to come do things together, waiting for friends, family members to go on vacation, to go out for dinner, breakfast, brunch, whatever you want to call it, go on walks, go do things. No, I've learned in this process, I've learned to be okay by myself. Because guess what? All those things will come back to me. Everything that I had, everything that was already taken away from me. I don't look at it as a bad thing, but I had to learn to be self-reliant and not so dependent on others. Not, and this is coming from a person who is a twin. I was born, created in the womb with another human being, and you know what I mean? My best friend, one of my best friends. And even that too. When you don't have that person, who are you? Can you still function? Can you go out there and still live the life that God's called you to live? So anyhow, it is my point to really come out here and really put out this message for somebody who needs to hear this in some point in time, whenever you're meant to come across this video. But it's for you, because it's like the person who's in transition. What do you do when you've actually said yes to God and said yes to your calling, and you've had your spiritual awakening, and you are walking with God, and you are changing your life, and you're in a space where it does feel a little bit desolate, it does feel lonely, it can feel like that, but that's all illusion, because you're never alone. And once you have that understanding that you're never alone, you're really good. But I also know I'm a human being as well too, so there have been times where I've needed to have a little bit of support. I just needed to know that there's somebody else out there that thinks the same way that I do, that's feeling the same way that I do. So this message is for you. This video is for you, to let you know that you are not alone. There are many others like you that's walking this journey too. And they love and support you. So have yourself a great day. And until the next video. Mwah.